Calling all beings, y'all. Let's get it.
Put your hands together. Put your hands together.
Welcome back to Calling All Beings, baby. I'm your host, DJ, and right there over that way is my co-host, Nathan.
What's up, y'all?
Good evening.
Yes, and we're very happy to have our esteemed panel tonight. And please don't get a vision of broccoli in your head because I said esteemed. This is the all-female roundtable. We're going to hear from them. They're going to break it down, what's important to them, and you're going to listen, okay? Okay?
Yes.
So that's what's about to happen. So let me introduce our panel. Is that okay, Nathan?
Please do.
Can I get with it? Calling all beings. All right. Let's go in alphabetical order. She's from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Do you know what I'm saying? This woman right here, she's got more YouTube subscribers than I got excuses why I didn't graduate till I was 53. Okay? So party people, put your hands together for Amy, the alien girl. Yes! Put those hands together.
Oh my gosh, DJ, that was like the best intro
All right.
I've ever had. Ever. Yes.
We're gonna give you some love in here. There it is.
What we
All
do.
right.
It's what we do.
Coming
I
up
take
next.
it. I take it.
We're talking about Canada's own, okay? So this girl right here, man, she is at the video girl, okay? So if you need to get some video work done or if you want to learn how to put your dog on the paddleboard, she's going to be Canada's best paddleboard instructor. Party people, put your hands together for the girl everybody knows on the UFO Twitter, Kelly Dodge! Yes!
Bam. Bam.
She's on Spaces. She's all over the place. She's in your face. Maybe too much because she's probably dropping the F-bomb on you. But that's okay. That's all right. It's all natural. It's organic. All right. The next person here. This is what I want to say. This person here is an intellectual with easily the most adorable handle on UFO Twitter. Okay? Girl that's going to drop some knowledge on you tonight. Put your hands together for this show's own Miss S.A. Lampy, 1947. And you know what that means. Roswell, baby. It's out the bag.
Yes,
It's out the
Roswell.
bag.
It's great to be here,
That's right.
guys.
Because what this show really needed was a classy New Yorker. And I can only fill one of those roles, which is New Yorker. So we needed to bring on a classy New Yorker, somebody that's actually smart and intellectual. This woman right here has been on with us before. She was on with Linda Zimmerman. So she is a publicist and an author herself. She's an artist and just a wonderful human being. I hope you all have an opportunity to talk to her like I did. So party people, put your hands together for Bed-Stuy's own, New York County's own, the 5 boroughs' own, Miss Susan Fensten!
Yes. Yes.
Give it up. And now we're about to kick it off. I'm going to turn it over to the show manager, Nathan.
Yes. All right. Thank you,
We got the
DJ.
clacker right there.
Yes. All right. You guys know we run a tight show. We run a tight roundtable around here. That's how it's going to go. Everybody's going to get a minute and a half to do some topic introductions. And then we will go around the room and you get a minute and a half to respond to the topic. Now, we know we're going to get into some stuff. All right. When we get into some stuff, it's going to happen. DJ is going to let us know. We're going to take a deep dive. We'll take some extra time. We got a batch of extra time we're going to dip into, so don't worry about that. But we'll try our best to kind of keep this train moving and give everybody a chance to talk and say what they want to say. That is the goal. We are so happy to have all of you guys with us tonight. Great energy. Great to meet y'all. And let's get into it. So DJ, who are we going to start off with?
Man, we need to go in an order here. Since we're at the bottom of the screen, let's go Kelly Dodge, Amy, Lampy, Susan. And you're not going to hear from me. If you're hearing from me, it's some hot air. Nathan's finna mute my mic. So let's go. Let's get into it. Kelly Dodge, tell us about what your topic is. You know what? Actually, before we even start the timer, tell us what's important to you about this topic, if you have a goal or a mission. And let's please take that around the table, if you would, please.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. That was like the biggest question that anyone has ever asked me.
Well, and Nathan, put the timer on. Put the timer on this girl now.
We got to put it on. We got to put the timer on her.
Oh my God.
Because I get worried about it.
Number one, I'm super glad of everyone that I discovered on UFO Twitter. I feel like I'm on a tribe of people that I absolutely love and cherish, and I would freaking die for. Love you guys so much. Number two, I know that there's so much more out there, and this whole disclosure process is like a marathon, as much as Lou says it, and I fucking hate it. But everyone hates it, right?
I want it now.
Everybody wants it now, and it could do more. But I'm just so happy that I'm here. And honestly, you guys have brought so much love and light into my life, even though it's a very frustrating topic to even sit and talk about, because you know what I'm talking about. Number two, Alien Girl, love you. Lampy, I swear to God, you better tell me where you got your glasses. And this bitch, she pulls up a martini with olives. Like, I'm all in love.
She's
Like,
killing it.
She's killing it. She's like,
Lampy's dope factor is quite high. Alien Girl.
She's like
Amy.
Yeah, she's like 2004 May. Remember May's 2004? No,
Yeah.
we're all old.
Like,
We know what we're talking about. No,
Mhm.
but my important topic is it doesn't matter about the disclosure or what we're going to find out or what really is going on. What I really enjoy and like, and I am not like a woo-woo person.
Mhm.
I love the fact that there's so many people coming together talking about other things than the Kardashians, talking about other things and the little tiny minuscule things that happen in your life doesn't mean shit. Like, I just really love this. I love the community, and that's all. I love it.
All right, let's
Love it.
get all right. Timer's on. Amy, go,
Yes.
girlfriend.
Hey guys, my name's Amy, and I run the little YouTube channel called Alien Girl 111. And I love it so much. My biggest goal with doing these shows is I have one specific question that I always try to get every guest I have, no matter who they are, to answer, which is usually, do you think that there is an intelligent, organized civilization somewhere out there similar to us?
Wow.
And I think that's a huge question that we need to be asking, because for me, I don't understand. I think probability, like, we can say you don't believe, Amy, you don't know the facts, but I do believe that scientific probability is in my favor. I do believe a lot of scientists believe there are intelligent civilizations such as ours. And I don't think that I shouldn't be able to walk into any room and be in the minority there. I wear alien stuff wherever I go, if I can, if I have it, if I'm there or whatever. And what I've seen about people is they want to talk to it. I talk about it. I go to the grocery store. I've got an alien shirt. They're like, you like aliens? Oh, you have no idea how much I like aliens.
Oh, do I
Cashier
like
back and
aliens?
forth. And then the cashier next to them and the other cashier's like, yeah, this happened, that happened. So for me, that's definitely the driving force behind it for me. And tonight, the topic that I wanted to share and discuss that always kind of like gets me all into it
Well,
is,
we can-
we're
You
gonna
can
wait?
hold. You
Okay.
can hold that one.
You'll
Yeah,
get a
just-
whole minute and a half for that.
This
yeah.
is just to
Hang
tell
on
us
it.
who Amy is.
Yes.
Who is
Here I am.
Yes.
This is
Awesome.
it.
Awesome.
Lampy?
All right. Well, I'm Lampy. I've been interested in this topic for a while, and like, when asking why is a hard question, but I think for me it comes down to, I think that there are sort of two main things that sort of drive us as a species, and one of them is to try to seek understanding of the universe that we live in, and try to learn, try to explore, like wanting to know as much as we can about the world we are in. And I think the other thing that drives us is seeking connection with others and trying to form bonds and exploring the possibility of life elsewhere in the universe kind of ties both of those things together. Like if there's something else out there, then we want to know, both just from an intellectual perspective and also because we want to know if we are sharing this universe with other intelligent beings, like then we would want to have some sort of connection with them. And I think UFO Twitter in particular has been great because, like, ultimately, like, whatever you believe about this subject, like, even if it turns out that there isn't anything else out there, then, like, we are forming connections in our community. Like, we are exploring different ideas. And I just think it's a great thought-provoking place.
That's right. The human journey.
Yeah, and to pick up on Amy's point, when you say you believe, I think the mathematics is exponentially in your favor, like exponentially in your favor. So yeah, it's pretty good hypothesis to have. And also, we'll go over a couple of rules just to make sure, but let's get into our friend from New York City, the classy Susan Fensten.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so many things that are important to me: truth, open-mindedness, acceptance, and just a sort of a, not a joined mission, but a sort of a, walking in the same direction kind of thing with like-minded people. It's been really freeing for me because it's always been a very solitary experience for me. It's very hard to find people to talk about this with. And even back when I first started, way back in the late 1980s, all my friends were artists. Everybody was very bohemian and very, free-minded, whatever. But I really found that they weren't. They weren't. I was like, well, wait a minute, this is like the cosmic debris, like think about Frank Zappa, think about all the things that inspire us all, like the artists and like, that all that surrealism and that irrational chaos that comes in that kind of a environment. I was really frustrated that I couldn't find anybody to talk to about it. There was just like hitting a wall. But it wasn't until I joined the New York Fortean Society that John Keel used to run in Manhattan. They had monthly meetings, and I started going to these meetings, and there was just a eclectic, incredible group of people, plumbers, teachers, housewives from Connecticut. They drive all the way into the city, people from New Jersey, people from Long Island. They would all come in. They were all very different. I was the youngest person there, and that's where I was just like taking root. Like my inner root was like, yeah, this is where I'm going with all this. So that's what brings me here. Ultimately, 30 whatever years later, I'm still here.
And we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
That's been around in OG, so to speak. For me, I didn't get to intro myself in the beginning, but if I were to intro myself, I would say former special ed student, Air Force aviator, retired, government guy now, civilian pilot, meathead that appears on UFO shows. Appears on my UFO show, and very, very curious person who knows very little and is open to learn a whole lot. And so that's one of the reasons that I'm here. And I also share with Kelly, I love to engage with other people. I love positivity. I love collective people coming together because there's so many things in our countries, respectively, that divide us. And so we found something where we can sort of coalesce, and without it, other than a few hiccups, which we're all aware of, we are proving, that people are coming together. So I'm honored to be here and speak with each and every one of you and all the people on #UFO Twitter.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And for myself personally, UFOs are for the people, right? So I resonate with so much of what all of you have said. I am here for the conversation and the journey. My background is half of my life was very spiritual in a traditional sense, and the other half was very kind of practically minded. And this topic has kind of brought those two worlds back together, at least for me. And I love exploring the what if. I love having respectful conversation. I think we can all get along and still disagree. There's a way to do that, and I want to achieve that. I'm about building a community that embodies that. So let's make that happen. Let's make that a reality.
Heart bubble emoji for Nathan, my co-host.
All right,
All
we're
right.
about to get into it.
Let's kick it, man. Let's start off with Canada's favorite paddleboard instructor, who also is a professional video editor.
That's right. That's right.
Who likes your work, Nathan? She made
I-
positive comments about your work.
Yeah, I'm still in shock about that.
Yeah.
That's self-taught here. So
Oh,
thank you.
stop it! No, it's so good. Listen, like, don't get crazy. I've been doing this for a long time. It's the Botox and the filler that is looking like I haven't been doing this for a long time. But I've been.
Can you
doing it
DM
for a
me
long
about that? For
No, you don't need it. You're looking good. You're looking good, bitch. Sorry.
DJ Skincare.
I love it. There it is.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
It's
right.
free.
Hey,
It's
product
free. You don't have
placement
to pay
happens
for it.
later in the show. All right. Well, Kelly, kick us off with the first topic. I'm going to put the timer up and we'll get going. So hit it.
The first topic. Okay.
This is your
so-
topic.
Mhm,
In through the
you
nose,
got
out
this.
Okay, so you know what has been really on my mind lately? Number one, the Skinwalker Ranch book that came out. Obviously, that was very, very ill received, and a lot of people just want to burn it. So we could just like X-nay on that. Number two, I want to know what your thoughts are on what's going to be coming out with the book deal with Lou Elizondo and his book deal. So just let me know, because he's going to be dropping some bombs. So what bombs do you think that he's going to be dropping? Because it has to be approved before he can do that. So I know he's been walking on a very, very thin line. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been a little bit more. He's been kind of like spewing it out. So what are your thoughts on what Lou Elizondo's book is going to be coming out with?
Amy, you're okay. Really quickly before we start the timer.
Yes.
Okay, so stop the timer if you would, Nathan.
Yep.
Okay, so Kelly, you can yield any of your time to someone else on the panel. So Kelly left 30 seconds. Actually, Amy could have talked for 2 minutes. But
That's
what
okay.
I want you,
I'll give Amy anything that she wants.
but she can also ask. You can ask her to yield you time as well. So anyone on the panel can yield time or give time to another panelist. That's a brilliant thing that you brought up. Did I miss anything, Nathan? Or is
No,
that
you
it?
got it. You
Is that
got
good?
it, man.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay, Amy. So
Amy.
you're going to respond to that topic, please.
Yes. So Skinwalkers at the Pentagon is a very interesting thing. And I think Kelly's right on the money when it comes to a lot of people just wanting to throw that topic away 100%. When it comes to Lou Elizondo's new book reveal, I think it's very obvious what he's going to be talking about. And in my own opinion, he's going to be talking about consciousness. It was already a little bit leaked, okay, when we were talking about it, because he had the consciousness program. I can't remember, but you guys know what I mean. The remote viewing program.
Yeah.
There's been this little buzz throughout everything that Lou Elizondo is a remote viewer. So I'm pretty sure that there'll be something in here in this book that will reveal a little bit more about his remote viewing experiences and how that may be incorporated, or he might not say it, and how that might be related to how the craft are operated through consciousness. Given this, let's look back to what just got dropped by that had the stamp of approval by Harry Reid, Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. Okay, why did they do this? Why did they tell us werewolves and dino beavers and all this crazy stuff? Because there is some whack stuff going on. But now that the wacky's out, maybe we can move into the consciousness. Maybe if we think a senator accepts this idea, we're going to be more open to, consciousness runs craft. I don't believe in werewolves, but that's all the time I got right there. So
Amy could actually have 30 more seconds because it was left over. So you
There you
can
go.
go ahead for another 30, Amy. That's brilliant.
And so I think, Harry Reid put the stamp of approval on this whole book, and it's absolutely insane because a lot of the reason that he says he believes it is because of his own personal religion, which is Mormonism. He's actually part of the LDS faith. He never talked about that while he was politicking or campaigning or anything like that. And if you're a part of the LDS faith and you're Mormon, one thing that you realize is you do believe in people from other worlds. Okay, so we're taking in this viewpoint as well with werewolves and everything.
We got it. That was great analysis.
Love it.
So smart.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Keep going. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
90 seconds to my home girl. The cutest name on UFO Twitter, Lampy.
There we go.
Such a
Hello. So yeah, I don't even know what to expect, because when the book was first announced, I honestly didn't think we were going to be getting much new just because of the restrictions that Lou was under. I figured that the book was just sort of going to be like all of the statements that he's made in the past sort of brought into one place, which I think would be a perfectly legitimate reason to release a book, because like he said a lot over the years. But with all of the stuff that he's been coming out with now, like Amy said, talking more about consciousness and remote viewing, talking about how there are occupants in the craft. Like I think that we are going to get stuff about both of those things, and that it's going to be more interesting than I originally thought. And I don't really have much more than that. The Skinwalker Ranch book I saw a little bit about on Twitter, but I didn't really look into it, and it sounds like it was absolutely wild. So but with that, I will yield my remaining time to Susan.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Whatever people think about the Skinwalker at the Pentagon book, I found some interesting things in it that I didn't know before, and for that reason I thought it was worthwhile. I don't think it was a book that it was intended to reveal all secrets, because we're all like very thirsty for news, the truth, secrets. It's really not going to happen that way. Aside from that, what I think is important about Skinwalker Ranch is that my observations are a couple of things. It's not entirely about UFOs. Skinwalker Ranch as a location, as a mystical place, which are rife throughout folklore that involve valleys and caves, like Anjali's folklore. There's all kinds of earth-tied mysteries going on. We have a magnetic field that is decreasing at such an alarming rate right now. It's sort of drawing in a lot of doomsday, cataclysm, thoughts about pole shift, and it's a very slippery slope. But I think it's important to keep an open mind. We don't know everything. And what's coming around the zeitgeist right now is that everything you know is wrong. And Lloyd Pye wrote a book about that a bunch of years ago. And it is true. Everything, we're going to have to relearn everything backwards and forwards right now. So excluding odd, strange things, weird washing the experience, I think you're throwing out things that we should be considering. Okay. All right. That said, do I believe in werewolves? I believe in just about anything, to tell you the truth. I've seen things that nobody would believe. I've never seen a werewolf, but I've seen ghosts. I've seen things manifest. I've heard things that defy complete logic. I can't photograph it, put it in a jar, weigh it, get it scientifically approved, but these things do happen. We're very complex. We live in a complex world, a multidimensional world. Am I out of time?
You're
sorry.
out of time, girlfriend. We yielded you another 20
All right.
seconds. No, I think that's great, and every one of you is making like amazing points, and every one of you has provoked thoughts. What actually, if I can just interject for a second, what Amy's hypothesis about Lou was brilliant, because what is he going to put in that book? And when I've thought about that, I didn't come up with anything, but Amy did, so that's great. Let's please move on to what Amy's topic for the evening is, please.
Yeah, thank you. I'm having so much fun. This is so awesome how organized you have it. I am in love with it.
Thank you, ma'am.
You did such an amazing job. Okay. Such an amazing job.
You got this.
No, it's your now it's your topic.
It's your topic.
So my topic is the aerial school in Zimbabwe. I think this is the most authentic experience I've ever heard, and for multiple different reasons. Number one, you had Dr. John Mack, who was studying the abduction phenomenon, who was studying it also at Harvard, which is where Avi Loeb is. What a weird coinky dink, right? So he was studying abductions, and he was looking at the correlations between all of these people, figuring out they were getting abducted by grays and everything. And then, right, you have the Zimbabwe children who see these three gray aliens come out of a spaceship, which, by the way, they said one of them had long brown hair. What? And there were many children who saw them, and the children, you got that? That's good hair. And the children said that they telepathically connected with them, right? And told them that they needed to be better to the earth and things like that. John Mack came down, and one thing that makes me really think it's real is this is a guy who went through about 30, 40 kids. I don't even know how many kids he saw, decided they didn't have any mental issues. There was a lady from MUFON who was in Zimbabwe, and there actually was an event that happened, a mass sighting all across Zimbabwe 2 days before or a day before, and she went in right after what had went down, and she asked all the kids to do a picture, right, of what they saw. And the thing that I think makes people really draw into it is that all the pictures of the kids looked exactly the same. And if you asked my daughter to draw an alien, she'd draw an alien. But if she didn't know me, she'd draw like a 3-armed purple person, you know.
Right.
I love it. I love it. And you know, we're too technologed, Lampy. I believe we're too technologed. And remember, if somebody's going and you want to yield time to them, you can. So, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and yield like 20 seconds to Amy just so she can sort of finish.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it, right? Is the MUFON lady went down. I'll take it. The MUFON lady went down, and she went and made sure that they had it fresh in their mind. They had those drawings ready by the time John Mack came down, and John Mack asked all those kids, and those kids are still alive today. They're middle-aged, and they're still saying the exact same thing.
That's
Crazy.
20 seconds.
Lampy, hit it.
Technologed.
Okay, so yeah, I love the Ariel School incident. Like, I first learned about it when the Phenomenon documentary came out, I think last year, and I think it's one of the most compelling alien contact cases, and I don't know why it isn't talked about more outside of like people who are already really into this topic. And I really can't wait for James Fox's documentary specifically about Ariel School to come out, because I think that when the mainstream hears about this case, it's going to get talked about a lot, because I think it's extremely compelling for the reasons you've said. I think that most of the explanations, like the explanations for it from people who don't want to believe that it's something weird tend to be incomplete and not very good. So like I definitely think that this is a case that should be brought into more mainstream attention.
Susan, they communicated with our thoughts. I'm doing, as you guys can tell, I'm trying to imitate these beautiful kids. And by the way, I believe it was 64 kids they spoke with, Amy.
Incredible.
I believe it was 64 kids.
That's great. Thank you for I'm glad to know the number. It's so nice to know.
That's the only thing I know tonight.
Weren't some of the teachers witnesses too?
But didn't come out. They didn't support it until later, and they didn't believe the kids and all that stuff. And it's like, you're about 30 years late. But anyway, go ahead. Let us go on to Miss Susan Fensten.
And what a great subject, and what a profound experience that is written in perfect truth on their faces and in their expressions when they recount this extraordinary incursion into their normal everyday school life, and only can sort of begin to contemplate what the profound effect would be to see something so completely different. You know, these were not babies. They were very intelligent children, very poised, very self-possessed, very thoughtful, very considered. They didn't appear to be like extremely hysterical or overreacting in any way. They seem to very quietly take this in and process it, which I can see as a lifelong process. UFO appearances over schoolyards in front of children have been pretty well documented by Preston Dennett, which is very interesting. He's got such a great little corridor of topics he likes to go down that are just so off the beaten track. And he brings out some important things. And it really sort of brings together the larger picture, which is introduction, conditioning us, gently impacting us in some ways. And this has been going on for 50, 60 years now. It's very complex. It's very huge. We're never going to completely understand it, I don't think, unless it's all written down in gold. Exactly.
You timed out, Susan. You got to keep your eyes on the clock, girlfriend.
I can't. I'm not on my glasses on.
It's all right. It's all good. That was great.
Is your boyfriend there? Or is he going to get the Thai food? We'll get him to, or the Peruvian food.
Oh, he's I don't know where he is.
All right. Anyway, Kelly Dodge, would you please respond to Amy's topic, please?
That's right.
Yes, absolutely. Number one, Susan, it's just such a delight to have you here.
Thank
you so much. I'm so blessed to meet you.
Thank you.
And all that. The one thing with this topic, because these children, but now adults, because, well, I'm 40, but I mean, like, they're my age. They are,
Kelly.
well, they're all middle-aged now, like
Right.
I am, okay?
Don't say that.
The one thing that really stood out to me is every single one said that the beings that came out, they weren't walking, they were
Skittering or
everywhere. They were here, they were there, they were there. They're like they were all over the place. They weren't touching the ground, and it's really interesting for me because I think with this whole like propulsion system, with the anti-gravity propulsion system, as these crafts are, who knows? Nobody freaking knows. But it's just so wild to me that these children are like, oh, there's a being, and then all of a sudden they're switching
Wow.
around, and all of a sudden they're in their face and their back, and they're not moving, they're not walking. I find that so interesting, so complex, and so how we have absolutely no idea how the world works.
That's a wrap, Kelly Dodge, and thank you for educating me on that because I did not know that. I didn't know that they were. I kind of knew that in other narratives that they had floated, but I didn't realize they did in that one, and that they were moving about. So that's fascinating. Lampy, what's going on? Actually, this is your topic, my friend.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So so my topic is based on a friend of mine asked me the other day if I thought that the New York Times articles and the sort of mainstream news coverage of UFOs was going to lead to a resurgence in the mainstream being interested in aliens the way that they were in like the 90s. And I kind of think that is happening now. I feel like I've observed in the past couple of years that there's been a lot more alien-themed TV shows, a lot more like alien toys sold in stores, lots of shows like Resident Alien, Solar Opposites, the X-Files reboot, Project Blue Book. But I'm also looking for this stuff now in a way that I probably wasn't 3+ years ago. So I guess my question to you guys is, do you think that pop culture is sort of going back to being more interested in aliens and UFOs? And if that is what's happening, then does that have significance for ufology? Are more people in the mainstream going to get interested in this topic because of pop culture, or can we sort of use that to bring people in? So I'll yield the rest of my time to Susan.
Yes, and yes, all of those things. Having lived through the 90s and the whole UFO thing and comparing it to now, there's no comparison to, the difference between the speed of light and, waiting for something to come in the mail for 3 weeks. It's very different, and it's all happening in real time. But I can't even keep up with everything that's going on. Like, seriously, it's just like a fire hose. Like, every day I'm like 18, 20 tabs open, this video, that, I got to watch this, I got to watch that, I'm going to see this and that. I think people are getting a lot, and I think that's good. And they're getting a lot of, crackpotty stuff, but that's always kind of been baked into the whole pie. There's a lot of people who make a lot of claims. It's always been an open field for possibly made up stories. Maybe somebody's just trying to make $1. But really, I think at the heart and the bone of the whole thing, we're really grappling with something that is very absolutely affecting our reality as we understand it. And we're being pushed by it. And because people like us are responding to it, there's a growth that happens there. There's a large part of the population that is not interested, doesn't affect them, won't ever affect them, don't care. And, I guess that's fine too. Everybody has a different thing that they're interested in. But I really think this is the most important subject. And I've always felt this is the most important subject, because for me, it ties together what we are. And that's my question every morning when I wake up. What are we? What are we? What is this? What are we? Why are we the way we are?
10 seconds.
Past, present, future. It's not linear, but I want to know. I want to know. So
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, as soon as Lampy gave her topic, I saw the video girl. She was like, I'm about to get on my paddleboard. So let's get it, Kelly.
No,
You're on the clock, girlfriend.
stop. I hate the clock. I love the clock. I hate the clock.
Live and die by it.
We're gonna keep you.
I'll
Succinct.
give you a fresh 90. You got
We're
it.
gonna give you succinct. Go ahead.
I completely forgot what I was gonna say. I'm sorry.
All right. Okay.
We'll
let's
skip.
let
We'll go to
Amy
Amy.
go. We'll come back to
I
you.
was like
We'll come back.
convinced. I
Okay.
was like, okay, I got something going on, and then you
Ke-
just like
Kelly,
Mhm.
we'll go to Amy. Come back, focus.
There we
You're
go.
out on the lake. Your dog is in front of you. Nathan's drinking a Coors Light. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's go to Amy. Kelly, please think of your point. Go into your own zone.
So when it comes to that, I always like to kind of lean on the ideas of UFO Jane, because when I was watching her shows for like the last few years, she always talked about the slow disclosure process. I never believed in it. I never really saw it until she kind of brought it up. And so I think all of this that is unrolling is part of the slow drip disclosure. On all sorts of different levels, whether they're disinformation agents or they're information agents, the government's controlling the narrative because it would be scary to just let all this out.
Yeah.
Would you want maybe your child to come up to you and be like, an alien abducted me last night? You know, I mean, nobody wants to think that that's happening. And so because of that, I actually think that movie Paul that came out about the alien, right? And that's when I was like, this can't be real, because he's an alien and he says that we've slow drip disclosured the alien head or whatever through all of these generations. And I totally think that's what's going on. Right when the metamaterials were found in Robert Bigelow's warehouse that were said to be metamaterials from Roswell, a show came out, I think on the CW, called Debris, about Roswell crashed debris. It's everywhere. It's embedded in our culture. It's ready to come out. So when it comes to that, yeah, they're pushing the gas pedal. They already confirmed those videos. They're ready to tell us.
And
They're
that's a
using
wrap,
the
my
media.
friend.
They're using the media.
And if Eric Davis, Dr. Eric Davis, and Lou Elizondo coming out, and Rick Doty coming out and saying this 100% happened, he said that to Nathan on our show. I said, your degree of surety. He said 100% about Roswell. And then Lou said the same, an analogous to the same thing. And then Eric Davis backed it up with 1,000%. So there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kelly.
Oh, she's on mute. There we
She's-
go. I love that. All right.
Nathan's drinking a Coors Light.
Here we go.
okay, 8 and 9 seconds. Awesome. On the clock. Okay. So my thought is even though that we keep pushing for disclosure and we want the truth, guess what? MFs. Sorry, but it's not going to happen. So what is going to happen? And this is what I truly believe, that we have to go through different steps to get people warmed up on certain things. Number one, the area or UAP or the air phenomenon that is a threat. It's not a threat, but they had to put that in to just get the ball rolling. So I feel like, not that I feel like, I know that there's certain things that we need to get people warmed up to. We got to warm them up. You know, we gotta massage at the back. We gotta pour them a glass of wine. We just gotta warm them up, get them wet. And sorry. Wow. Yeah, I said that.
This is a PG rated show, Kelly.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Nathan's kids are watching.
Oh, boy.
Like, we just have to get them ready for, and I think the drip.
10 seconds remaining before Kelly's next sexual innuendo.
Nobody's going
All right.
to listen to me. Anyways, there's a process, and it's a marathon. Luke keeps talking about it, and that's
Yes,
It's a process, love. It's a process.
indeed.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Thank you, because you're really giving us so much, and you don't even know it. Susan Fensten. And last but not least, the final topic of this evening, aside for we're going to allow a few go backs, is Susan Fensten, please.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't have a topic. I didn't do my homework, but I do now.
I'm calling your professor right now. Which SUNY school did you...
We're gonna go the third rail here. Might as well. All
Okay.
right. The H word.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're hinting at it. They're talking about it. The hybrid world. Oh, yes, that's right.
We talking Toyota Prius here.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
we're not
The
talking about
efficiency.
orchids. We're talking about us.
Mm.
We're talking about us. We're talking about them. They're not like us. Maybe we're like them. Maybe they own us. Maybe we're pets. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're a very special creation. I don't know. This is the third rail. This is not what they want to talk about with the public. They can barely squeak the little gray in the door and make it seem like they're just our friends. They don't like our nukes. They really care about the environment. That's all fine, but that's us. That's our projection, because we are mad here and struggling with something that is so enormous. And we're sort of frustrated with ourselves making this leap. It's not easy. We're kind of primitive in some ways, but even with all our consciousness and our time traveling and our astral body projection.
10 seconds.
Hybrids. I want to know what you all think.
Love it.
Not my Subaru hybrid, Kelly. Not my Honda CRV hybrid.
Okay.
But we
yeah,
talking
so
something
there-
between Nathan and me.
Okay, so there was a interview on Witness Citizen. Anyways, there's I can't get into the nitty gritty because like my ADHD, but someone just went on saying that Lou Elizondo cannot say, but he is kind of hinting to it, the next chapter or the next phase of the trip is the fact that we are hybrids. And as soon as that was said, I'm like, bingo, bitch.
Makes sense.
That makes a complete sense. No,
Nathan's kids. All right, go ahead.
but
It's fine. It's fine.
But we have to. They have to slowly get us used to this, even though all of us are like, no, give it to us. Give it, just feed it to us. We have to. The whole entire civilization, because we're awesome. We are hybrids. And again, and I think this ties back to when Lou said the somber. What do you think when you're at school or your religion or what your parents are telling you is not exactly the truth of how we came to be on this planet? And I tied that back in, and with this whole hybrid theory, which I don't think is a theory, I think we are. We're slowly going to get into that. And that somber thought is, you know what? Maybe we just didn't evolve. Sorry,
Kat, that was brilliant. No, thank you, Kelly. That was
perfect.
that was a great analysis, and it's I was really hoping you guys were going to just provoke a lot of thought and make me think about things, and I knew you would, that I hadn't thought of, and that's been 100% success tonight. Just as somebody like inviting guests on, and that right, Nathan, that's what's happened.
I can't wait to get to the after chat here. We're gonna get into this stuff.
Kelly,
so much good content here.
All right,
you guys are setting the stage. I love it.
Amy, would you please respond to the hybrids, please?
I'd love to. The alien hybridization program was something that I did not believe in for a very long time. However, after listening to many people's experiences and also just looking at different abduction experiences, you see that the majority of it has to do with taking out eggs or sperm or embryos. It has to do with reproductive sort of experiments and things like that. That being said, the alien hybridization program, I found a scientific article. I can't even remember where I found it that totally changed my mind about things. Let's take the hybridization program from the human experience. Once we're out there and we're interstellar travelers and we're out there and we find a planet that maybe doesn't have the qualities that our human body could use, but there's little entities down there hanging out on that planet. Well, we're going to go down there, take some of that gene, mix it with our own DNA so that we can live in that climate and in that environment. And how is that bad, right? And so you get, we talk about the trauma of the abductees and all these things that happen. But at the end of the day, I mean, we all it's like about love. It's about life. It's about getting this vibration everywhere, right? And if we're going to have to use our genetics to mix with some sort of other entity on another planet so that we can survive that atmosphere, so we can keep this party going and get off these rocks that aren't going to last for eternity, then I think I do believe that makes sense to me logically as to why the government would not discuss it, because it's actually Like, isn't that like a cosmic benefit? So that's my thoughts about the alien hybridization program.
I love it. Nathan, in your mind, Nathan, does CRISPR kind of open the door for this a little bit?
I mean, maybe we're stumbling upon a technology that it's already there. We're kind of unlocking things, aren't we? That may have already been there the whole time. That's what our technology seems to be doing. So,
thank you so much, Miss S.A. Lampy, 1947.
All right. So this is a topic that I really like, but also have some mixed feelings about, because first of all, I do think that like it is a somewhat plausible idea that hybridization could be happening, like for the reasons Amy said, but like that a lot of abductees have talked about, like having gametes harvested and that sort of thing. But also just we as humans have experimented with like creating human chimpanzee hybrids and such in labs. So it's something that scientists have tried to do, and there's no reason to think that other scientists out in the universe might not be interested in the same thing. The reason that I have mixed feelings about this topic is I think that if it gets to the point of people trying to sort of find identifiers for how to tell if a certain human is a hybrid versus a quote unquote regular human, or if it becomes people theorizing that some groups of humans are not fully humans and other ones are, I think there's a lot of potential for that to become very dangerous.
Hitlerization.
Yeah, so I think that this is a topic that like should be discussed in the UFO community, but that people should also be very careful when discussing and consider the intentions of some of the people who might be discussing it.
So I'm sorry if she's yielding 4 seconds to me. So if you guys were wondering why we had Lampy on, I'll bet you that nobody on this panel was thinking about that point right there. The way that we can divide, we've seen sort of the country divide. Now you can say, well, the Hitlerization, we're pure, they're hybrid, and we've seen that play out in a number of cinematic pieces of artwork. So, before the government felt really bad for me and decided to bring me back, I was working at Whole Foods, and of course the shift manager will hand you a cart and say, "Here's the go backs, DJ, take the go backs, Holmes." So okay, yeah. So here we are. So with go backs, let us start with Miss Kelly Dodge for a minute and a half. That was a little bit of an Elvis. Don't be cruel to us, true. So, do you have a go back that you'd like to address with anyone, any topic, Miss Dodge?
Go back, no. Way back, playback, absolutely not. Again, I am okay. I am just so grateful of having these conversations with all y'all. That's a very Canadian way of saying all of you all. I'm just so glad that people can come together and talk about this stuff. And I think slowly we are figuring this out. Even though there's so many conspiracies, there's this, there's that, there's people on the mountain, there's, lavender people, like, who knows? I'm going to summon people down. Like, anyways, I feel like once you kind of get through the weeds of the things, we are figuring it out slowly but surely. And I'm just very, very happy with all this stuff. And I know it's not going to happen overnight. We're slowly going to get there. We can't have humanity. We can't give everything to the humanity. We can't just like on the humanity's face, because they're going to be like, you know what? I don't like that. I don't like that. So we have to like warm them up, get them there, I'm just very excited and happy, and I'm very optimistic of what's going to happen and what's going to be discovered in the next 10 years. It is, I know that sucks, but it is going to take that long.
Kelly, I want to thank you. By the way, the granola goes back to aisle 4. And as far as lavender skin is concerned, just think lavender skin could eradicate skin cancer. So I just want you to ponder that when we go on to Amy's go backs.
Interesting, yeah.
So I think that extraterrestrials are going to become more of the forefront of our mind It's a matter of time before we put the pieces together in terms of people like Lou Elizondo unrolling it out. He's rolling it out. He's rolling the information out. Then we got books like The Skinwalker about werewolves and all of these things that just seem so fantastical coming from a senator. At the same time, we look at all sorts of different popular culture that we have throughout everything, and it's actually pretty dang hard to find a sci-fi that doesn't believe in aliens. I don't know if that says anything, maybe not really. But and then we take in the idea of the hybrids, and when anybody takes the time to look at this topic and to review it and to just learn with a curious, open mind, be someone who just shows up and says, instead of pretending to be the smartest person in the room, it's actually the person who doesn't think they know the most that's the smartest. And it's that person who has the laid back vibe, who's not going to say, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Just like in the Titanic, right? They're like, what was that shutter? Oh, don't worry. It was just the shutter of the rudder. It's okay. I've learned so much that when people say it's okay, no, go figure it out, because this isn't okay. This is what this conversation is. Not the government, but someone knows, whether it be Angelique, whether it be some other experiencer. We need that information. We're ready. Just tell us. And the second that they can tell us, we got some cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
And whether or not it might be Alien Girl Amy, by the way, listen up. Lampy, what's your go back, girl? Oh, wait, please. I would like you to, if you could take that oat milk back to the dairy aisle.
Well, first, I just want to thank Kelly for completely ruining my ability to ever hear the phrase slow drip disclosure with a straight face ever again.
Oh, no.
And beyond that, I agree. I agree with Amy that I think that ETs are sort of becoming at the forefront of more people's mind. And I think that the stigma around this topic is lessening in the mainstream. Like, I still think that the normies would kind of balk if they heard the discussion about like hybrids and consciousness and remote viewing and such. But I think that if you just tell a random person that like you're interested in aliens and UFOs, then they'll be like, oh, that's cool. And it's not that strange anymore. I think that at least a casual interest is a fairly normal thing. And I feel like this is a really interesting time to be involved in this topic. Like, I know everyone feels like sort of their own moment in history is the big significant one, but I really do think that there's a lot of development happening here, and I am really glad to be a part of UFO Twitter right now. So I think I'm going to yield the rest of this time to Susan, but thank you all for having me. It's been great to meet all of you.
Thanks, Lamp. It's a lot to take in for the normies, right? Your mother, your grandmother, your aunt. Remember, this is the dawn of a whole new way of relearning everything and then incorporating a lot of very new and extremely radical and unusual things, you know. But just try to imagine for a moment that you haven't been immersed in the subject the way we have. Many others have for many, many years, decades. People have died in this whole process, never knowing, you know, where it's all going to go. It's a lot to take in. We live in a culture that is largely based on myth and fairy tale. I mean, think about it. From the moment you're it's like little girls, princesses, dragons, you know, fantasy, you know, Christmas. I mean, look, get into the whole religion thing too. There's no insult to any religion, but basically there's so many stories that we're told. Okay. None of them are this. So this is completely radical. The most avant-garde of the avant-garde. This is the fringe of the fringe. It's not for it's not for the weak-hearted. It really isn't. I mean, I've had many moments in my many decades. I'm sitting on the subway and I'm reading a book. I don't even know what book. I've read thousands. And it suddenly hits you like a wall. You're like, what? Like, oh my God, it's my stop. I have to get off the train, you know, and I'm still half in this other parallel world thinking about all this stuff and really taking it in. I think it changes you on a micro DNA level when you learn about it.
I love it. Nathan, to Susan's point, I think Lou alluded to in that Kurt Mungle video, the Kurt Mungle interview. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
That maybe the stories that we've been told by our parents, and I think he used those words, paraphrasing, if not, aren't what really has happened or aren't what's happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree. And Susan, kind of, you're touching on something that I think, resonates with me a lot. Humans we orient our lives around stories, and we always have. And for a very long time, we had societies that were fairly well contained with consistent stories that maintained those structures and cultures. And as the world got smaller, as these places got larger, we started bumping into each other, and we realized, oh, geez, like my story is it's one among other stories. And so now we threw all these stories together, and we said, well, geez, like there's a whole bunch of things here. Well, none of them are actually like the real story. None of these are the real story. We need a new story. But
Yes.
in the 20th century and in the early days of the 21st century, we have jettisoned all of the stories in favor of a scientific narrative that we want to hang our hats on. We want to say, hey, well, this science stuff, it's getting a lot done. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's accomplishing quite a lot. It's allowing us to do this really cool thing we're doing right here. It's allowing us to, cheat death in many instances. Science is actually doing some stuff. So maybe we need to put all of our chips in the science basket. And that's the story that we need. But the truth of the matter is we are coming back around. We are coming back around to a realization that the story is much larger than even that. And the things that we discarded, the things that we thought we didn't need, are things that are actually important after all. But science is also important. So we are entering a new age where we are blending these things together. And it just so happens that the nexus of these ideas happens to be the UFO and the phenomenon, consciousness, all the weird things that we've seen throughout history. It's got it all wrapped up in there. And so we are creating this new story for all of humanity. And if you think about the work that takes, it takes a lot of work and a lot of time.
I'll tell you guys, audience, if we've left you wanting more, then we accomplished our goal, because that's going to be it. That's going to be it for tonight. We're going to leave one. That's where I got to get you back, Fensten.
Susan, you better connect with me and Lampy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, say your.
They're my number's friends. Yeah.
We need an alien pajama party where we sit up all night telling alien stories.
Do you have any idea, like on Alien Girl's channel, like this is what she does? Like this is her whole vibe is just like
yes, I know. I want.
I love it. She's the best.
So much fun. Let's have an alien pajama party on my channel. Let's do it. Let's all of us. Let's all do it. Let's do it. Why not? I like the idea. Let's go.
I'm totally down.
Okay. All right. I'll use our DMs that we've been chit chatting in. Let's set it up sometime.
As you guys can tell that there is an element of comedy that associated with this show, but there's also a huge element of seriousness, and I think we approach that tonight, and you could do a little bit of both. And I want to say I love all of you, and I think all of us on this panel love all of you out there in hashtag UFO Twitter land. And let's keep bringing the positivity. So for Kelly Dodge, for Alien Girl Amy, for Lampy, for Susan, and for Nathan, this is DJ saying peace out, one love, and we'll see you down the road.
Peace.